Well, we got with the little buffer that we have with the intro. So we'll start around 10:01.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, we're also live streaming audio right on the website as well. So we have that feature now. Yeah, man, we got some things to talk about too, because we're gonna have some changes coming up here when it comes to the show and directions and all this other stuff in the month of December.
Are you posting on your Facebook page the show?
No, Facebook is horrible, man.
All right.
It's like it's not working anymore. There's too many loopholes. Like you can't just do the show live. Like you have to log in every so often. It's like, and Twitter's just making it difficult. It's like we're just doing YouTube. And our numbers have actually gone up since we've just been doing that. So here's the chat. We got some people coming in already, coming in hot. Andale. Good morning, homies. What's up, Matt Gomez? Thanks for joining us today. Wemby had a 50-piece performance we're going to talk about. Play the grito for the win.
No.
What up, homies? What up?
It's a gritless day unless they pay for it. We don't do free gritos anymore.
I'll just do a ah. That's all you get. You know, we do got to do something though. Maybe a video after like an epic Spurs win. Do something. You know, if they want to see that, got to pay for it. You know. Where's the paper?
Hey, Joe, if the Spurs start getting into playoff contention, we might need to do a post-game show or a post-game pod or something.
Yeah, well, we could actually do a post-game show, and I've been toying up with the idea for a while of doing this strictly on the website itself, since we do have live streaming audio. That lends it to where this can actually happen anytime. I mean, Matt Lerma's doing the Spurs Twitter Spaces.
He's doing a great job with it.
And I'm trying to incorporate that some way, somehow. So I got some ideas. All right.
Welcome to another episode of the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike Jimenez and Joe Garcia. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Join the discussion as we broadcast live from beautiful West San Antonio. And remember to tip your hosts as it helps the show grow.
What's up, San Antonio? What's going on, South Texas? It's a beautiful day here in the Alamo City. This is the Alamo City Sportscast coming at you from the west side of San Antonio. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. And we hope that you love the Spurs because we're talking a lot about the Spurs tonight. Today's show is about Wemby's 50-point performance. Career high last night set against the Washington Wizards. Spurs back at 500, 6-6 record, Joe, knocking on the door of that play-in tournament, if the season was to end today. We're going to talk about Coach Popovich as well, because the Spurs finally addressed his health scare and talked about it a little bit, at least a little bit yesterday. Lots to get into. We're live right now on YouTube, more than 1,060 subscribers strong. You can reach me on Twitter at MJAcquiredTaste. Joe, lots of Spurs talk today. Let's buckle up and talk about it because, man, Wemby just blew up yesterday. He went off last night.
Yeah, he did.
I was fortunate enough to be at the Frost Bank Center yesterday. $50 seats got me to the 17th row yesterday, Joe.
Not bad.
Pretty excited about that. Last minute purchase.
Matt Lerma was there.
Matt Lerma was there, section 109. So you saw Wemby go off for 50 points, right? 18 of 29 shooting, an impressive 8 of 16 from three, and he started lighting it up early, Joe.
Yeah.
And my friend Alex and I were joking during the game. I was like, he's going to go off for 50, isn't he? And as he was getting closer and closer to 50, we're like, oh my God, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just get to 40, right? He was at 39 at the end of three quarters. Just get to 40, right? That's his career high. He blew past his career high by 10 points. Career high originally was 40. Now it's 50. Became the fourth youngest player in NBA history to get a 50-point game. Brandon Jennings holds that record. Who? But he holds that record. LeBron James did it. So did Devin Booker. Victor Wembanyama at the age of 20, becoming the fourth player at the age of 20 to get 50 points in a game. You can be part of our show by going onto our YouTube stream and leaving us a comment or 2 or 5 or 10. Thank you so much. And Joe, by the way, yesterday you mentioned the fact that our viewership numbers are a lot higher than what they used to be. We're getting back to where we were.
No, I mean, that's really what happened, I believe, is we had the doldrums of sports season, right?
The summer.
So what happens is when we get these stats that I showed you, they're per August and so the month of September,
right?
Because we're in October. So YouTube just emailed me the stats, and when I sent them to you, I was like, man, our stats doubled from the month of September, or from August to the month of September, by a lot.
What makes our podcast different?
Yeah,
and this was also kind of bleeds into my old times at SportsStar, is the fact that it's not only the number of people who watch, right? Because people can say, well, X number of people watch, right?
Yeah.
But it's the duration of time that people watch. Because that's the thing. People who watch our show go 25, 30, 40 minutes. We have some who go the entire hour and a half.
Yeah.
And our average view is significantly higher than any other podcast or sports show that you'll find.
I mean, for us having a small channel, right? And, you're thinking about numbers games, and some people have bigger channels than we do. You're talking 5, 6, 10,000 subscribers. But what we're able to do with the amount of subscribers that we have, we've built a community.
Yeah.
And that community has garnered us 108.8K minutes viewed of our videos.
108,000 minutes. Just for
Crazy.
last month, right?
That was for September. Yeah.
Right.
October.
On a slow month.
Yeah. And we're going to see the month of October should be significantly higher because we've had bigger viewership. We've had more people watching.
What's great about what's going on with this podcast and just sports in general is that it would have been so sad if the Spurs had such a bad season.
Yeah.
Compounded with the fact that the Cowboys are just circling the drain right now. Right. And the Texans aren't playing as well. Right. But we're seeing the Spurs show some life, man. 6-6, 5-2 at home. The Spurs back at 500, Joe. They hadn't won 6 games last year. They won their 6th game in January.
What did they? Where they're like they had won 3 games and they were like looking like world beaters, and then went on an 18-game losing
3-2
streak.
to start the year last year. And then they
Wow.
lost 18 in a row and suddenly found themselves at 3-20. But the Spurs right now are 6-6. It was fun to watch last night. The Frost Bank Center was rocking. People come in and say, well, the Wizards aren't that good. I don't care. A win is a win is a win, Joe. You got to pick up these games.
I like this comment by Countdown Creations. Wemby may only be just very good.
And you know what? We're going to get into that. Okay. First of all, we'll get into the quote unquote the defense of Michael Jimenez. And if we got to treat this like a Law and Order type of criminal trial, we will.
Well, look at this. This is funny though. I know I did this in fun yesterday, but look at the apology form. I thought this was hilarious because it took a nod to you.
That was hilarious.
Mike Jimenez convinced me he was bad. I only looked at his EFG percentage. I was jealous of Wemby. I don't know ball. I was secretly a Spurs hater. I don't believe in aliens. Oh, I wrote this and I was laughing, man. I said, when Mike sees it, I knew you're going to get a chuckle out of it.
Okay, so first of all, how do we want to do this, Joe? Do we want to do X's and O's first and then get into the Twitter monsoon that happened thereafter?
Good news, bad news.
Well, no, let's talk about what happened first. Let's go over the X's and O's first.
Okay.
Dissect the game as sports fans, as analysts, if you will. And then we'll spend the last half hour, 45 minutes of the show, me, shielding myself from the bullets that are going to come in.
Are you gonna sign the apology form? No, not yet.
I never said any of that. So let's go through that. So here's the thing, man. Spurs go off last night. Got off to a very, very big lead early on, but then they lost it. Right. So the Spurs were up double digits early on, and then all of a sudden, 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, the Wizards had clawed back, had taken the lead. Spurs, Wizards tied at 67 at halftime, but it was all about the third quarter because the Spurs went off for 41 points, outscored the Wizards by 17, led by Victor Wembanyama. Washington made a comeback down the stretch, got it within a couple of possessions. They had already taken Wemby out of the game. He had already gotten the standing ovation. Spurs up by like 16 points, and then all of a sudden it was an 8-point lead, and Wemby had to come back into the game. Chris Paul had to come back into the game. Chris Paul, by the way, getting into a dust up there with about a minute to go.
You saw Jeremy Sochan, your son.
Dude, Sochan wanted to get part of the mix.
So, broken thumb.
With a broken thumb and about 80 pounds of bling on. Did you see all the bling he had on?
Yeah, man.
He made rappers.
He had some chains.
He had some chains on him. But you take a look at last night's performance. Obviously, the big news is Wemby going off for a career-high 50 points, 18 of 29 shooting. He had a huge game for the Spurs, man. Huge game. But the biggest thing for me, Joe, 9 turnovers only for the Spurs. So when you think about that, Joe, 9 turnovers compared to 18 for the Wizards, is it a win because Wemby went off for 50, or is it a win because the Spurs got 9 more possessions? I would go on to say it's because they got 9 more possessions. I mean, Wemby's performance was amazing. Okay, I'm not going to take anything away of that, right? It was an amazing performance, 50 points, and it was great to be in the house when that happened, right? I feel blessed and fortunate to be there for that.
Did you feel that electric in the air, the energy from all the fans?
There is nothing better than watching a player just get into the zone and just, my friends and I call it throbbing. Remember, like in those old video games where as your player got hotter and hotter, like NBA Jam, and you had the ball started flaming and all that stuff, and the star underneath the player was throbbing. Like, he's throbbing right now. But Wemby going off, it says 18 for 29, but the fact of the matter is he missed his last 4 shots, right? When they took him out of the game and they brought him back in, he thought he was done for the day. They brought him back in. He missed the last 3 or 4 shots he took, so he was actually a better shooter than that 18 for 29 would actually suggest.
He was looking a little gassed there already because, I mean, he had put on a hell of a performance, I mean, I was wondering when they were going to just take him out and just sit him down for the night, but they put him back in again. I was like, the dude's tired, man. He's had a hell of a game.
Okay, so they brought him back in for the last 4 minutes of the game. So really, he had 50 points in just 28 minutes because he didn't score in the last 4. Champagny, 12 points. Harrison Barnes had 10. Stephon Castle had 10. Devin Vassell, who started off really, really cold, only 5 of 14 shooting, but somehow managed to get to 17 points when it was all said and done. There was a missing person yesterday because Mamu wasn't playing. Mamu did not play. Coach's decision on that one. Charles Bassey, City Sissoko also rode the pine as well.
You know who had more minutes, though? It was going to be Zach Collins.
Zach Collins had 16.
Yeah,
so we were talking about the fact that but again, you make your first 3-pointer.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they have some faith in you. Spurs, Joe, suddenly looking like a 3-point shooting team. Okay,
they're looking all right.
We talk about how they sucked as a 3-point shooting team all up until last week. Yesterday, 18 of 44 for 41%. Joe, if you're going to shoot 41% from 3 and only have 9 turnovers in a game, you're going to beat every team in the NBA if those are your percentages.
Yeah.
Spurs did a very, very, very good job. Shot 78% from the free throw line. It was all about Wemby. It was electric. He came out firing bombs away to start the game. Just knocking. I told my friend Alex during the game, 4 minutes into it, the Spurs were shooting 100% from the field. I said, hey, you know what? Teams that shoot 100% typically win.
Yeah. You know what's funny, too? Our friend of the show, Sean Quintero, he texted me last night. Like, it was already 10-something. I had a long day at work, and I finished watching the game and whatnot, and I finally was upstairs laying in bed like, oh, man, I'm going to go to sleep. He's like, let's do a show right now. I'm like, no, Sean, I'm laying down, bro. I'm tired.
So we have lots of comments coming in. So let's read a few so far. Matt Lerman, can Mike just admit he is wrong? We will discuss in a moment. Hanover Fist talking about how Stephon Castle had a nice 3-pointer to end the first half. It was a clutch 3 to end it. JHNSB saying, don't apologize, Mike. Wemby can still end up being just very good. Plenty of players get 50 points and had a good career. Willie Burton had a 50-point game back in the day. If you don't know who Willie Burton is, he played for the Philadelphia 76ers, had a 50-point game early in his career, ended his career with the Spurs. So 50-point games sometimes happen. Brandon Jennings had a 50-point game, but Wemby's better than all of them. But I'm just saying, just because you have a good game doesn't make you transcendent. It just is what it is.
Oh, look at Countdown City Creations. They put something in here. There it is. Look at that comment.
Need to start using the term revolutionary instead of generational. Wemby is just different.
He built different.
Well, it's one of those things where when Wemby's going, he's going. The problem is that can he get going consistently?
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. It's like we hadn't been able to see this out of him because, again, you had Devin Vassell out of the lineup, right? You were relying on Jeremy Sochan to kind of be that offensive weapon in the paint, and because Wemby, he's just not his style. But now that you have Devin Vassell that's returned into the fray, The spacing looks better out there. The team's playing better. You know why?
Don't
Because
make me say it, Joe.
That offensive scoring load isn't on Wemby now. It's not the focal point of his game. Now it's Devin that is the focal point of that.
Maybe the last couple of games before this one, you're right. But yesterday's game, Devin Vassell didn't make his first bucket till the third quarter.
No, I get that, but I'm saying
Devin
he's
Vassell
doing
was
things.
not bringing anything. Do you know what it is, Joe? And no one wants to hear it. It's because Sochan's not there clogging up the paint.
Oh, God.
The ball moves better without Sochan out there. And you know what? People are like, the streets are saying that Wemby is blah, 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 blah. They're trying to come after me on Twitter. I'm like, well, the streets are saying that Wemby's a better player without Sochan. And it's so funny because no one wants to admit it, but the second I get all of you fools from Spurs Twitter out there on a one-on-one conversation in person, guess what you all say? You're right, Jimenez. But I don't want to say it. It's unpopular to say.
We haven't really seen, the thing is that we really haven't seen the starting five play together yet. The full starting five, with Devin in the lineup.
I see what you're going.
So it's like we don't really know yet.
The reason why the offense is better is because you have more offensive-minded players on the court at one time.
You do.
Is the defense better? No, the Spurs give 130 points.
They're still in the top 10 when it comes to defense.
You give and take, right?
Yeah.
By Sochan not being there, the defense is worse. By Sochan not being there, the offense is better.
Yeah.
You got to admit that, dude, and no one wants to admit that. It is true.
But the numbers don't lie when you look at it as a whole, though. Right now, the Spurs are still one of the top 10 teams when it comes to defense.
People are saying that JHNSB is my burner account. How can I have a burner account if I'm doing the show right now? But he says right there, quote, team is looking amazing without Sochan. It's not saying that Sochan's a scrub. I'm not saying that anymore, right? That's the one that I'll take back. But it just because he's not a scrub doesn't mean that they fit. The pieces of the puzzle need to all fit together.
Look at Elias puts. Wemby played better because he saw Mike in the crowd.
Dude,
he didn't want to hear him.
Like when Sochan went off for 34 when you and I were there because, he was like, because we were the fifth row. And he goes, Sochan must have saw you and got pissed.
And you can attest to this. Me and Leha were giving Collins the business the whole time. We're there with our cones that we had made out of the little programs they gave us, and we're all booty crumbs, because people are like, I bet you won't say that to his face. We said it to his face the whole damn game, dude. He heard us loud and clear.
So let's break this down, Joe. Are Spurs fans being prisoner of the moment right now? Because I have a poll on Twitter at MJ Acquired Taste, and I posted that this morning, and I asked the question, is Wemby shooting 9 to 16 3-point attempts, which is what he's doing now, the last 3 games, is that what we want to see from him? And 71% say, yeah, fire away. 29% say they'd rather see him play more from inside. I posted a tweet in the third quarter. Jeff Garcia, I told Jeff Garcia, because I saw him at the game, what I was going to tweet. He goes, Jimenez, don't. They're going to bag on you. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter. The stat line for a 7'4" Victor Wembanyama read like this. 26 points. Amazing. You want that for a game, dude. 10 minutes to go in the third quarter, he had 26 points. He had 1 rebound. So I looked over at a friend of mine. I said, isn't that an odd stat line that a 7'4" player has 26 points and 1 rebound? And then we looked at it, Joe. Almost every shot he had taken was from 3.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of kind of like, remember the movie The Hangover? And they were asking, well, where are the guys? And the father is like, well, they're probably on a heater. The rule of Vegas is never get up from the blackjack table when you're on a heater. Right now, Wemby's on a heater. Wemby, the size of the rim for Wemby right now is probably a hula hoop, right? When things are going well and you're on fire, and as my friends like to say, you're throbbing, the size of the rim is like this, right?
That word makes me uncomfortable.
I saw somebody say that. But there's sometimes when you're cold and the rim looks this big. It looks like a carnival rim, right? Right now for Wemby, it's a freaking hula hoop.
So we're going to say that? Is that going to be a thing from now on? When Wemby goes on a hot streak, he's throbbing?
I know you like it, Joe. Admit that you like it, Joe. Admit it.
I can't. Where is this going, dude?
Remember the old video games like NBA Jam and NBA
He's on
2K?
fire.
He's on fire.
Throbbing.
The screen, the player's star underneath the player would start glow.
The ball was on fire.
And my friends would always say he's throbbing.
Oh shit, bro! Can you imagine wearing that to the arena with Wemby's face on it? He's throbbing.
I want to see Spurs Twitter adopt that, dude.
Bro.
Okay, we adopted for a good while there Nugget, right? Let's adopt throbbing. He's throbbing.
God, man.
Midtown Joe is blushing.
No, I'm laughing, dude. I think it's hilarious.
Midtown calling me Spurs Throbstadamus.
Oh my God, dude. I think we just made a new catchphrase for the month. He's throbbing. God.
So, Joe, let me ask you this question, Joe. You are a Spurs fan. I am a Spurs fan. Obviously, when you're on a heater, you don't step away from the blackjack table. Right?
True enough, or the craps table for
or
that
the craps tables. He is throwing 7s and 11s, right? And then when he's hitting points.
That's how you make your money. You ride the streak, right?
Right. You ride the streak. Is this something that we're going to look back and go, wow, Wemby finally figured it out and is now an elite shooter? Or is it just simply he's on a hot streak, he's on a heater?
I don't know, man. I like to say that I think he's starting to figure some things out about where he can shoot, where he feels comfortable shooting. Because when you're looking to see what he's doing, and there was a great graphic that one of our friends had put out here on Twitter. I'm going to show it to you right now. And it was showing you where Wemby was making his shots last night. I think this is good.
Jeff Garcia posted it. It was green. It was green all over the place, right?
Yeah. So let me go ahead and share that right now. So I actually saw it from my friend Paul Garcia.
Right.
But you can see, it's showing. He's saying Wemby is shooting almost 60% on catch and shoot jump shots during his last 3 games, and you can see right here exactly where he made and where he missed, and it's a good balance. Not only is he shooting threes quite well, he's also making a lot of points when it comes to being point blank in front of that rim in the paint, which is what we wanted to see out of him. He's going to use that length to his advantage.
Okay, so here's the thing. He's 7'4". He shot 16 attempts from 3, 13 from inside.
Yeah.
And I look at that, and it makes me feel a little bit uneasy because what I don't want him to do is rely on the 3. Now, don't get me wrong. He's on a heater right now. Fire away. When they play the Lakers, just fire away. That's fine. You keep firing away until the horse bucks you off.
Yeah, they're probably going to leave him open, too, from beyond the arc.
They might.
Yeah.
But the question becomes, at what point does he revert to the mean? Okay, so I kept using that phrase, and here's the thing, I work in finance, so statistics.
Welcome to another episode.
I work in
dollar.
Dollar. I work in finance, so statistics is a deal, right?
Yeah.
And revert to the mean basically means is that everything at the end of the day always averages out, right? We've been talking about craps, for example. You go to a craps table, right? You've got red, you've got black, you've got green, right? Sometimes you see that list of numbers that hits, you see that it's 12 or 15 in a row of red. That doesn't mean that it's going to be red all night long. At some point, it's going to be a lot of blacks. It's going to average out, right? Back in the day, I remember Derek Jeter, different sport, but in baseball, Derek Jeter of the Yankees was forever a 300 hitter. And there was one year down the stretch, his last couple of seasons, where he was batting 220 for the vast majority of the season. And people were like, he's washed up, right? What did he do the last 2 months of the season? He batted like 400, and at the end of the year was at 300 for the year. It's reversion to the mean. If you're a 300 hitter and you bat 500, that means you're going to bat 100 later on, and you're going to average out at 300. My question for you and for Spurs fans is what is Wemby's mean? Because his mean has been around 31%, 32%. He was a 32% shooter last year, a 30% shooter from 3 last year. He was at 22% just like 3 games ago, right? What is the reversion to the mean? Because I don't want to be prisoner of the moment and say that Wemby is suddenly this elite 3-point shooter. He's had a great 3-game stretch. But I posted on Twitter earlier this morning in defense of me being bagged on because people are like, you see, Jimenez, you said don't fire up any threes and whatnot.
No, you said that he was just a dude.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
No, I say just a dude to Keldon. I say just a dude to.
I got to go get the video.
You know what? It's funny how you always say all that, and I never see the receipts.
I'll find it.
I never. You can keep searching from here until tomorrow because I never called him a dude. I said,
is he just a dude?
No, I said
you did.
I've said that he could be just a Giannis. That he could be a 2-time MVP, but not the best player in the league.
Your quote was, I remember you saying, you're like, maybe Wemby is just a very good talent. He's not going to be a superstar. He can be a very good player.
No.
And you said maybe he's just a dude.
I called him a Giannis. I said that he'd be like Giannis. That worst case scenario, he'd be like Giannis. Would you call Giannis just a dude? Giannis
I'm just saying that's what you said,
that's
not me.
That's what may have been what you heard, but that's not what I said. I said that there had been no indication as of yet that he was going to be the guy that's head and shoulders above everybody else in the NBA. That maybe he's just a 2 or 3-time MVP. That maybe he's not a GOAT. Maybe he's not a top 10 player of all time, but that maybe he's just a top 50 player of all time, which is great. That's what I said, Joe. I never said he was just a dude.
You asked the question. You said, maybe he's just a dude?
No, never said that.
Oh, my.
Find it.
I will
find it.
I think that was a couple episodes ago. Actually,
let's go find it.
Okay, I'll put it on there then.
I don't know, man, because you said
that
2 weeks ago. I said something else, but let me go back in time a little bit something because I was going back and forth with our good friend Fernandez, who's great, man. Loves Fernandez. People are like, "Oh, well, you said don't shoot the three, dude." As I posted on Twitter, I've heard this conversation before because there was a 1 week period, 2 week period last season where Jeremy Sochan shot 67% from three. He had like an 8 for 12, or he had like a 6 for 9 game and a 4 for 6, and he had like a 2 for 5, and you add it all up, and he was 67% for the week. And I had so many people in my mentions say, well, you see, he can knock down threes. He doesn't have to stop shooting them. He was 42.5% for a 5 week period, Joe, which is very good from three, right?
Yeah.
Did I ever backtrack and say, well, Sochan obviously is a good 3-point shooter? No, I said, no, he sucks at three because he sucks.
You also said he was a bust.
He sucks at, I did say that one time. And you know what? Do you want me to take that back?
What?
Because I can take that back in one of two ways. I can say that he's not a bust. He's going to have a long career. I could also say he probably doesn't fit with Wemby. We're seeing that right now.
You said that too.
We're seeing that right now. But Sochan went off for a 5 week period where he was a 42% 3-point shooter. And then what happened? It reverted to the mean because he's not a 42% shooter. He's not. He was on a hot streak. So the question becomes, Joe, the reversion to the mean when it comes to Wemby, what is the mean? Is the mean a 36% 3-point shooter? Because I'd be happy with that. I'd be ecstatic if he was a 37, 38% 3-point shooter. But what does that mean? Because the mean had been right around 30%, Joe. So if he's going off right now for 8 for 16, you know what that means? He's probably going to have a 1 for 9 coming up.
Yeah.
And are people going to keep up that energy when that happens?
People are wanting to put the Chunkla clip on here for Mike. I'm like, you want the Chunkla clip?
Pay for it.
Drop us a super chat, man. $1.99 will get you the Chunkla clip.
So, Joe, remember that time, Joe? Remember that time when Sochan was going off from three? Do you remember that month? It was January of this past year, January of last season, where he was going off. It was like the last week of December all the way to the first week of February. He was on fire from three.
Now
people were like Jimenez, he's finally figured it out. You know, he let him shoot a lot from three. No, he sucks from three. And what did he end the season at? 28%.
Yeah, your favorite stat, EFG.
Oh, dude, Wemby's EFG actually was 97. I ain't gonna complain. By the way, chance of MVP yesterday at the Spurs game last night.
I loved it.
I usually rag on it.
Shut up! Don't say it.
Well, because they were doing chance of MVP for DeJounte Murray.
Oh yeah.
Years ago. That was stupid. That was ridiculously stupid, right? My personal rule is, if you're a 500 team or better, you have career high in points.
What in the world? The screen went black.
It was a career high in points.
We got all sorts of gremlins today.
But the thing is, Joe, is that I was like okay with it because the Spurs are back to 500. So I'm like, all right, if the Spurs are 6-12 and we're hearing chance of MVP because Wemby's going off for 55 points, stop it. But yesterday I was fine with it. I'll allow it.
You know, I think what we need to do too as Spurs fans is a lot of times, because, you know, the Spurs have not been a great team. You know, they've been kind of mediocre, lackluster, not consistent. We as Spurs fans become very critical to the point to where I believe that at times we don't let ourselves just enjoy the ride.
Right.
You know, enjoy the moment. And I think we need to wind up just taking a step back and realizing that it's okay to be critical of the team at times, but also to be able to enjoy when they're having some success, you know. And like yesterday, if you were in the arena or you're just watching the game and you were watching Wemby have a 50-point game, I mean, that was greatness that you were seeing there. Yeah, you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it, man. And now we have the Spurs playing the Lakers.
Oh, the start of their tourney. That's the start of the tourney.
Start of the in-season tournament, all that stuff. Lakers coming in. LeBron, 39 years old, back-to-back triple doubles.
You know, he has 100, I believe 100 assists. Him and Chris Paul are one of the oldest guys in the league, if not the oldest guys. And they're the only two players thus far in the season that have 100 assists apiece.
This is a big test for the Spurs because this is a team that is balling out right now. You're talking about the Lakers, who are 7-4 on the season. Weird thing is, Joe, they're 6-0 at home, but 1-4 on the road. So the Lakers are good at home cooking. Head coach JJ Redick, but we're talking about LeBron James coming in and just balling out, playing. We say that Father Time is undefeated, Joe. The only person that's ever going to beat Father Time might actually be LeBron James. With all the miles on the odometer that guy has, he somehow, some way continues to play like an all-time great. And I know that we have this, like, who's the GOAT when it comes to sports, right? The GOAT is Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
But they didn't play really good at the level that LeBron's playing at this age.
But the best player of all time. See, the GOAT, the greatest is Jordan.
No doubt.
The best player of all time was LeBron. And you can't argue that, dude. No one can argue that. And even the old timers who watched ball in the 70s, 80s, and 90s can't argue with the fact that LeBron James, especially what he's able to do at 39, is the best player of all time in the NBA. Last night, LeBron James going off for a triple-double. Lakers beat the Grizzlies 128-123 there in La La Land. LeBron James, look at this stat line, Joe. 13 of 22.
That's it.
13 of 22, dude. Went for 35 points, 14 assists, and 12 rebounds. Not a bad game for a 39-year-old, man.
39 is probably, I would think, is going to be his last season, if not one of his last seasons in the league. I mean, he's getting up there in age.
And if he exits stage left this good, you never see a tail off. Because remember, think about all the greats, Joe. I mean, we think about like look at Tim Duncan.
David Robinson
with his back at the end. It was, I mean, he went out a champion. Last image we saw of David Robinson was 2003, him holding up the finals trophy. Duncan holding the finals MVP trophy. Great. Yeah. But what did he do when he probably brought the trophy back down? He probably winced because his back was jacked up.
Yeah.
Tony Parker was not the same in his final year.
He had a lot of contusions, all on his leg. You could see it.
Manu left still at the height of his powers for the most part.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't tail off. But, you know, you look at the greats, you know, the all-time greats. You know, Magic, after contracted HIV, was not himself. Jordan with the Washington Wizards was not himself.
Yeah, even the great Patrick Ewing, too.
Kobe sucked his final 3 or 4 seasons.
Shaq looked bad,
was an old man with Cleveland and Boston.
Boston, he was just a mere shell of himself. He started declining when he played with Phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah. So you look at all these players. I mean, Dirk Nowitzki, his back and his ankles were all jacked up towards the end. LeBron James is probably going to be the only superstar or the only top 10 great, maybe Steph Curry along the way, who's going to walk out like nothing ever happened with no decline.
Yeah, we got an incoming super chat here from Mateo. I like to call him Matt Lerma here. Thank you so much, Matt. Appreciate it. Matt says, Wemby had a slow start. Must be Sochan's fault. Probably the dumbest take you've had this season, Mike.
Is it? Thank you for the $5 super chat, Matt. And I
Thanks,
apologize
Matt.
for not being able to meet up with you yesterday. You have my cell number now. Just reach out to me because he was at the game. He wanted to meet up, and I was like reaching out to him by DMing him. But, DMs sometimes don't pop up as notifications.
Yeah, there's something like weird. The Wi-Fi, the signal inside that Frost Center isn't the best, man.
So we were kind of late in getting a hold of each other. The thing about Sochan is that is not my take yet. I have said this before, that I want to see what this looks like after about 10, 15 games. It is possible, Joe, that two good players or a great and a good player can't match, can't mix. I mean, look at what happened in Atlanta, Joe. Atlanta gave up so much draft capital to the Spurs to get DeJounte Murray. Is DeJounte Murray a bad player? No. He's a one-time All-Star, right? But what happened when he played with Trae Young? It didn't work.
Yeah.
We saw this in Dallas, right? Because people thought, well, it wouldn't work with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, but for a while it did, and they went to the NBA Finals. When you pair up a couple of players, you put pieces of a puzzle together. Sometimes the pieces fit, and sometimes they don't.
Isn't it one of your friends here, Alex Noriega?
Yeah,
him and Sean.
Where are they
They're
going back
agreeing
and forth
with each other. I think he's replying to Sean's comment here. Sean had put, there it is.
Jordan's the best of all time. No, he's not. He's the greatest of all time. He's not the best of all time. Now, the greatest of all, I mean, shit, if you're going to say the best of all time, you might actually say it's Kareem.
Your favorite player there, Kareem?
I couldn't stand Kareem growing up, but I mean, the best player of all time, I would make the argument that just talent-wise and all of that stuff, the best players of all time, that Jordan's probably not even one, not even two. He's probably three behind Kareem and behind LeBron. But Jordan's the greatest of all time for a variety of different reasons. The six rings, the ability to play both sides of the ball, the what he brought to the league when it came to shoes and when it came to the pop culture references and when it came to all that. He's the greatest because he took Magic Johnson and Larry Bird got it going in the late 70s. Think about Magic and Bird. Back in the day, games were tape delayed.
Oh, yeah, they were.
They went live when these guys came out in 79, right? And then all of a sudden, you had the Showtime Lakers, and you had Larry Bird, who's, I think, one of the best small forwards of all time, if not the best small forward of all time.
Could shoot the hell out of the ball.
Dude, and that guy was a trash talker like crazy. That brought it to the mainstream, right? That brought it to prime time. And then Jordan just took that to a huge, huge level.
Yeah, he upped the game. Look at somebody's agreeing with you here. Isaiah Aguilar. LeBron is the GOAT. Y'all crazy.
Okay, so let's get the difference between GOAT and best. GOAT means the greatest of all time, right? Look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the GOAT, right, Joe? Is he the best quarterback of all time? No.
Patrick Mahomes won so many championships.
Patrick Mahomes is a better quarterback than Tom Brady ever was. Tom Brady is the greatest because he has the accolades, right?
And he performed great in crunch time minutes.
He did.
You give him 30 seconds on the clock. Hey, it's a window.
He's going to come get you.
He's going to get you.
But the thing is, Joe, is that LeBron, at 39 doing this, Joe, LeBron is the all-time scoring leader. Michael Jordan, by the time he was 32, 33, was what? Washed up?
Yeah, I love this comment here. Thank you for the 199 super chat, by the way. Sith Lord Elias. He says, Matt is wrong. Mike is right. Your son's coming to your defense.
Dude, Joe. Okay, so what have we learned, Joe? And this is going to dovetail into something else, Joe. Because Spurs fans don't want to hear it because they fall in love with certain players. True or false, Joe? Wemby is averaging 27 points per game since Sochan was left out of got injured. Is that a factual statement, Joe?
That what? I'm sorry.
Okay, so right now Wemby's averaging 22 points per game.
Okay, yes.
Right? Is it a factual statement to say that he was averaging 15 points per game with Sochan on the court, and he's averaging 27 points per game with Sochan off the court. Is that a factual statement?
Okay, that right there is a factual statement, but the problem is that there's variables in there too, because in the beginning too, Wemby was not feeling himself. He was not feeling good at all. You could tell that. Now it seems like he's starting to come into his own, but again, I can't say that what it's going to look like when Sochan comes back and has him and Wemby and Vassell.
Sochan did have an illness earlier in the season.
It was a small sample size.
Wemby had an illness.
It was a small sample size, but it's factual from what you're saying from when the numbers standpoint. Yeah, that's correct.
The Spurs are 12 games into the season, right?
Yeah.
Sochan played 6 of them and like a quarter of one. I'm just saying, Wemby averages 27 points per game without Sochan out there. Can't argue that. That's math. Just add up the points and divide by 6. That is the average that he's getting, right? We saw the average when he was with Sochan out there, and Sochan was what the focal point. So remember, Joe, we had this argument 2 weeks ago. Why was Sochan getting more field goal attempts than Wemby? Didn't we have that conversation, Joe?
Yeah, I forgot. Look at Mario Cavazos said he did give us a $1.99 super chat that I didn't see till right now. So we're going to go ahead and pause right here and give Mario Cavazos some extra love. We appreciate you, Mario. He says, grito for the pinche white nachos last night. All right, so here we go. Play the grito for you, man.
For it.
You paid for it. We're going to deliver.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté que en el amor.
So just for you, Mario Cavazos, I let the grito play out for you, man. Appreciate the love, man. Thank you so much.
All right, Joe. Here's the point totals for Wemby this season with Sochan on the court for 6 games. He had 17, 29, 14, 6, 25, and 17. All right, so I'm going to get out my calculator. My handy dandy calculator.
Yeah.
So let's see here. 17 plus 29 plus 14 plus 6 plus 25 plus 17. It's 108 points, Joe, in 6 games. So Wemby averaged 18 points per game with Sochan on the court. Right?
Okay.
Let's see here. Last 4 games, 50, 34, 24, 12, 15, 24. Last 6 games, 27 points per game. Joe, 18. Do you want to have Wemby, Joe, averaging 18 points per game? Or do you want him averaging 27? That's the first 6 games versus the last 6 games.
You want him to average more points, but the thing is that it's not just Sochan's a problem. There is a thing that's saying, hey, the touches were being taken away from Wemby and given to Sochan. I get that, but again, too, Wemby just wasn't feeling himself in the beginning of the season, and they just played a handful of games together. I mean, right now, it's just a handful of games in the season.
6 games and 6 games. I know it's just 6 and 6.
It's a small sample size.
But, dude, we have a sample size of the 70 games that he played last year, Joe. How about this, Joe, as a point of contention here?
Okay.
What do those 6 games also deviate from or kind of fall in line with? Pop not being the head coach.
Yeah, well, it's going to be Mitch Johnson's team going forward right now.
Well, you take that away. You look at the first 5 games of the season where Pop was there with Wemby. I'm just saying that it just so happened that the things clicked when Mitch Johnson took over the team, and things clicked when Sochan was not on the team. I'm just saying. And it makes me sound like a dick, but the fact of the matter is that is the evidence. We have the stats, Joe.
Look at
Joe. The Spurs are 4-3 without Pop.
Mitch Johnson is doing a great job, I think, right now.
Wemby's averaging 27 points without Pop.
Yeah, I think it's because Mitch Johnson is doing some great things here with the lineup, giving other players playing time, kind of moving things around a little bit more. And if you saw the press conference yesterday when Brian Wright came out and he addressed the media, and they asked him, what was the decision making that went on? Because, you didn't give it to the other coach. I forgot his name, the older guy that's there, the assistant coach. Brown. He has more coaching experience. Why did you all go with Mitch Johnson? He's like, I'm not going to disclose that, but the decision was to go with Mitch Johnson moving forward.
And I'm glad that they did.
And look at this, Jordan Schneider.
By the way, thank you. Welcome to the Alamo City Sportscast, by the way. He's asking the question, is Chris Paul, Devin Vassell, Julian Champagny, Harrison Barnes, and Victor Wembanyama the ideal lineup then for spacing? And the answer is yes. The answer is yes.
And Branham looked good yesterday too.
Sprinkling in Stephon Castle as the sixth man, or if you want to take out one of those players and put in Castle. Castle is doing so much offensively right now that it doesn't come up in stats right now. He's attacking the basket. He's going for rebounds. By the way, we had that whole thing about how the NBA.com, their rankings of the rookies, didn't have Castle listed as a top 10 rookie as of yet.
Yeah.
They updated it last night. They have Castle ranked at number 10.
Look at this comment here. This is going to be the battle cry of
in Mitch we trust. Dude, you know what?
Oh.
Do you know how good he was coaching yesterday?
How good?
Mitch was throbbing.
Jesus, bro.
By the way, I want to say a shout out to Carolina Teague because I was talking to some friends yesterday about that press conference that the Spurs had where they revealed what happened to Pop.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I thought after watching the whole thing that Carolina had the best question asked that entire press conference. And I was disappointed in a lot of the media there, local media.
No, really?
Carolina does a good job out there. But I was impressed with what Carolina asked because she asked the ideal question in the whole press conference.
Yeah.
And no one was talking about it. And her question was, why now? You guys went 10 days, 11 days without saying anything about Pop.
Yeah.
What went into the decision into saying that today's the day that we need to say something?
Yeah.
That was the perfect question.
Yeah.
And Brian Wright, who before the game was kind of like, goes, can you rephrase that? She didn't rephrase it. She asked it the identical way because there was no rephrasing needed, right? So the Spurs last night, Brian Wright before the game against the Wizards took to the podium, answered the reporter questions, didn't really say much of anything, but did confirm the fact that head coach Greg Popovich suffered a stroke before one of the games. I think it was against Minnesota a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And that was the reason why he was hospitalized and no longer the coach of the Spurs, at least for the time being, right? That was the whole reason why they said it was going to be, what was the indefinite, Joe? Right?
Yeah, indefinitely is what they said.
So Mitch Johnson has taken over, and to me it looks like it's going to be him the rest of the season. It has to be, Joe. Because here's the thing, Joe, because it was beyond that, right? What was reported by Ramona Shelburne and Sham Sharani of ESPN was the fact that this all went down in front of the Spurs players.
Yeah, that's what they I've heard, that they put out there that it happened in front of them.
It happened in front of them. And on top of that, you have the fact that he's 75 years old, going to be 76 in January. There's no need for him to have his body and his mind go through all the rigors of having an NBA lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly the reason I was thinking as well, as Rudy J had pointed out. Sham Sharania, he forced the Spurs' hand in having this press conference, and that's why they had to scramble to do it last minute and just get it out there and get in front of the bullet because Shams,
he knew,
and he was going to put it out there.
Joe,
he put it out there.
It's because of the Alamo City Sportscast.
Oh
my God!
Tall tale.
That was a tall tale. But here's the thing: I did mention the fact, Joe, and I had an argument with James Pledger of San Antonio Sports Star about this. Sometimes we talk about we pledge and I go at each other on the show.
It's probably just your conversations,
but our conversations that we have, right? He got upset with me yesterday because he says, "Well, there you go. You got what you wanted. They finally said something, but they didn't have to do it. Pop deserves privacy. You know what? He doesn't deserve privacy. You know why? Because this is a big business. There's a difference between Michael Jimenez, Joe Garcia, Jeff Garcia, Spernandez, Matt Lerma. There's a big difference between us and them, right?
Yeah.
So I'll give you an example, right? If you are a public figure, whether you have a little bit of a following or a big following, you get treated differently compared to somebody who has, who's anonymous, right? Who no one knows anything about, right?
Yeah.
Pop is the highest paid coach in the NBA, a 5-time champion, a Hall of Famer, the winningest coach of all time in NBA history, an outspoken person politically against Donald Trump. He's also somebody who is representing a team that has sponsors, that has worldwide eyes on them because of Victor Wembanyama being on the team. He has sponsors all up and down Austin. Of course, something needs to be said.
Yeah.
He's a public figure, and they're like, well, HIPAA. Dude, you know what? That's great and all. But in reality, the fact of the matter is something needed to be said. Now, I did say on Twitter, Joe, that the Spurs had 30 days, in my opinion, to say something. Okay? When I brought up the question, the tweet that I had a couple of days ago was, it's been 10 days. Right? It's been 10 days. And I tweet out there, I want to have answers within 30 days. Because at that point, you're Spurs fan. We have season ticket holders who paid hard-earned money for it. You need to know, right? So Pledger was going off on me on that. And he goes, would you want something to be said about you? And I didn't bounce back on this. I said, it doesn't matter if you have any amount of publicity. Like, Joe, guess what happened the day after I got laid off from San Antonio Sportscast?
What happened?
It was all the Current and the Express News.
No, yeah, I saw that.
I mean, it was it shouldn't have been private that I got let go. No.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of a following.
And then what happened? Like 2 days after that, we're at the Burger Boy.
Talking business and doing the podcast, right?
Yeah.
You know what? If somebody gets let go from their job and no one knows who they are, no one cares and no one gets publicized about it. But if you have any little bit of following, it's going to be public, right? Joe, if I got arrested for DUI, guess what? Even though I have a small podcast with you, and because I was a former news reporter here in San Antonio and all that stuff, it'll be in the paper, right? If I get arrested for DUI,
look what happened.
If Matt Lerma, our good friend, gets arrested for DUI, it's not going to be in the paper.
But look what happened with Greg Simmons.
Maybe it does.
Greg Simmons was a good case in point here because he was arrested. They they were reporting on it. But what happened? I think the one that broke the news about this whole story was his own outlet, KSAT 12.
They had to,
and they put it out there.
It's actually, and that dovetails into the Spurs, right?
Yeah.
That dovetails into the Spurs. You have the ability because here's the thing. KSAT didn't want Ken's and WOAI to report about it because they knew about it.
Yeah.
They knew about it, right? So what you do is you fall on your own sword and you say what's what. Joe, we talk about the fact that you have sources, I have sources, and all that stuff. Guess what? We all knew what happened. I knew that it was a stroke 8 days ago, dude. People told me about it, right? Multiple people told me about it, and it was 100% correct. The thing is that you report it if you have multiple sources.
Yeah, I mean, we had heard things, but we didn't want to come out and say anything because we didn't want to be those guys,
And we also have heard that there's more than just one thing.
Yeah, he's
beyond.
got some problems.
It's beyond the stroke. He has underlying health issues that have been there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This
made news. Why? Because all those other health issues that Pop has had have happened off season.
Yeah, it's been going for quite some time, and I think it was Sam Salinas.
Yeah,
and he was putting that they had put that it happened more than once already. So he's like, if it happened more than once, why aren't they really talking about it? The Spurs like to keep everything close to the vest.
But
they don't let things out.
They can't do it forever. Brian Wright said yesterday they wanted to know the long-term prognosis of things before saying anything, that they didn't want. And I didn't need to have a play-by-play.
Yeah.
I didn't need to have surveillance video, TMZ style of it all. I didn't know where he needed to be treated, who his doctor was. I didn't want to hear from his doctor. I just want to hear what happened. Is he okay? Is he going to be okay? That's all I need to know. So yesterday, Brian Wright said, I'm not going into detail, which is fine.
Yeah.
That's the privacy that Pop deserves as a public figure, as a celebrity, because Pop can't go to any building in this city and not get recognized.
Yeah, I can tell you right now, just like from experience, personal experience, my dad's had 2 strokes, right? And seeing how it affected him, you know, it's a long process to recover from it. And for a while, like even after this thing that's happened with Pop, he's gonna not be quite himself. He's gonna be tired. He's going through rehab because he's trying to regain that mobility, in his either left or right arm or whatever, that's affecting him at this point in time. And your thoughts and prayers should be with him because it's a long road to recovery. It affects everybody different. They do expect him to make a full recovery, but I want to see him come back as a Spurs fan, come back at least one more time, just so the fans get an opportunity to give him his roses.
So someone just put in here saying that Jimenez is acting like an insider. I never said I was an insider. I just said that I'm friends with insiders. I mean, I talk sports with people who know people who know people who know people. I mean, I was a TV news reporter for 10 years in this town. I know I know pretty much every sports journalist here in San Antonio. Guess who I'm friends with? Those guys. They knew. They didn't know enough to report it. So I'm not getting, I'm not there saying that I have intel within Lock and Terra.
People embedded within the Spurs.
No, I never said that. What I am saying is that people who do have people embedded in there are friends with me, right? Or are at least friendly with me. So, I got to know a long time ago, but I wasn't going to say anything because I had nothing to back it up with anything other than just, I could be like Spurs Jesus, who apparently said it was something else, right?
He said it was a heart attack. He went on the radio last Friday and acted like he knew what was going on. He has inside sources within the Spurs, and this is what he's been told. That guy's he's full of shit is what he is, dude.
And the Spurs had to say something because, again, it is a multi-billion-dollar business. Nothing personal. It's business. You can't say HIPAA for Greg Popovich. You can't. Now you can. Now Brian Wright's saying they wanted to assess the situation for 10 days or whatever. Shams knew about it. If he had multiple sources and was ready to do something about it, the fact that he would give the Spurs the time to do it is big league.
Yeah, but I'm still on this case. No matter what you say or how you spin it or what have you, at the end of the day, I'm still like me. I'm a private person, right?
Right.
I don't like to share a whole lot of my private life with everybody, even though we do this show and we let you in a little bit into what we're doing in our personal lives. I still keep a lot of what I do in my personal life private. And I'm sure Coach Pop is the same way. And if you're working for an organization, I still believe it's up to you to either decide if you want this to come out or not, regardless of what platform you're on, whether you're just a regular old Joe like me working a 9-to-5, or you're in the public eye, working a high profile position like Coach Pop, who's a coach, an NBA coach of the San Antonio Spurs. To me, it still comes down to a personal matter. And if you want that to come out, you let said organization know that it's okay. I'm sure they got Pop's blessing to go ahead and do this.
Well, if their hand was forced, then there's no blessing.
Well, I'm sure.
I'm sure Pop would want nothing to come out forever.
I'm sure that, but I know at the end of the day, Coach Pop is like, maybe they had asked him prior to this, hey, is it okay if we release a statement or say something in regards to what happened? Maybe he said okay, but the Spurs organization didn't want to come out and say anything, but now they were forced to because Shams was putting out that story.
And Ramona Shelburne coming out and adding to the story as well.
Spurs fans have a history with her. They don't like her because at one time they thought she was full of it because she's the one that released the story or broke the news of LaMarcus going in and telling Pop, I want to be traded. They said that's a bunch of lies. Turned out to be true.
She was also the one who broke Josh Primo, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, she did too. So I mean, she's reputable as well.
Right. I look at it this way, dude. You give up some level of privacy when you are in the public eye. The only one that I can think of that got to go to the hospital and have something really big happen and no one still not know what happened was the actor and comedian Jamie Foxx. He's also a singer.
Yeah.
Remember Jamie Foxx was in the hospital for months?
He was.
And I still to this day, I don't think anybody to this day knows why. But Jamie Foxx, Shams Charania, again, reporting yesterday that Greg Popovich suffered a mild stroke on November 2nd. And according to Shams, is expected to make a full recovery, but a timeline, Shams says, for return has not been determined. Do you want him back, Joe? And I'm not saying this from the sense of X's and O's, right? I'm not saying that. Because you know what my position was on X's and O's. I wanted him gone a decade ago. Maybe not a decade ago. I'm saying 6 years ago, right? I'm saying this as a just man-to-man, Joe. I don't want anything bad to happen to Pop health-wise. And it's not like the Spurs would ever get rid of him fully, right? He can have whatever position, assistant GM. He could be a emeritus status of some point within the Spurs organization.
Yeah.
Do something. Be a special advisor. Be whatever, right?
We do have an incoming super chat from Tex-Mex Frank. Thank you so much, Tex-Mex Frank. He's saying, love that hat, Joe. Mike, you need one? Let me know.
Tex-Mex Frank, I got one, dude. I wear it, man. I have the gray one.
Yeah, everybody loves them.
Yeah, well, mine is it's kind of like a white and gray, and it has like a leather color.
Yeah,
where it says Texican on it.
Nice.
It's a good one. I'll take another one though. Is that hat too ethnic? I like the phrase Texican, by the way.
I do too. I just got stopped when I was at the Target over the weekend by several people when I was there, and they're like, hey man, where'd you get that hat? I like it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, my boy Tex-Mex Frank, he's the one that makes them. So I'd sent, you want to get one? Get in contact with him, man. So they love the hat.
Let's give some love to Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs and Ken's 5, because man, he was working the late hour yesterday on Wemby's
fumes.
He is, man. But let's give some love to Jeff Garcia.
Locked On Spurs is your daily Spurs podcast, hosted by Jeff Garcia, the lead Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Jeff has a healthy plethora of guests all the time on the Locked On Spurs podcast. You can also follow Jeff on threads at JeffG10s5SA. You can also follow Jeff on Twitter at JeffGSpursZone. So make sure you go ahead and give Jeff a follow, not only on threads and Twitter, but also on YouTube at youtube.com/@LockedOnSpurs. This is where you're going to be able to find the replay of the Locked On Spurs podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share.
Yeah, no matter where you get your podcast, whether it be Apple, Spotify, you can find Jeff Garcia and Locked On Spurs. More than 5,500 subscribers on YouTube. I was the guest yesterday at Kens5.com, or also at Jeff G Spurs Zone on Twitter and Threads. He has post-game interviews with Julian Champagny about Wemby's 50-point performance, which was a career high in points yesterday. Also has photos of the new City Edition jerseys, and also a link to the new Victor Wembanyama NBA 2K commercial. So visit Jeff Garcia on Locked On Spurs and also on his Twitter account as well.
Yeah, speaking of the City Edition jerseys, there's the picture of them. The NBA officially released these on their NBA social media channels, including Facebook, Insta, and the X. This is the Spurs City Edition of jersey. It wasn't a big surprise to Spurs fans. They had already seen, the little teasers come out, but it's just a nod to, again, the Hemisphere Arena theming that they had last year. It's okay. I mean, it's not like I'm crazy for this. I know Spurs fans really love the Fiesta colors, and I like them too, but I'm thinking there's, maybe next year they can go ahead and do something else that also pays homage to the city of San Antonio, and let's see what they come up with. But I think the Hemisphere theming has kind of run its course.
If you could show my screen, Raul
Sure.
Dominguez posted this on Twitter, how there's some people out there who were wearing Pop shirts yesterday in honor of the Spurs head coach, who again suffered a mild stroke on November 2nd, according to ESPN, in front of the players. The fact that nothing got out, man, shows you what a vault the Spurs are, man. If you want to show proof of the vault that the Spurs are, Joe, when it comes to information, Josh Primo.
Yeah, man.
We don't know what Pop knew or what Brian Wright knew or when they found out, dude. And that all got swept under the rug, remember? You remember.
I remember that. They even had the press conference and everything. We also got another $1.99 super chat incoming hot here from Tony Ornelas. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate the love. He says, seriously, would buy Edgar Mike shirts. Make them.
Dude. I wouldn't be against it.
I made the graphic. I'm the one that actually designed it, and people kind of rolled with it. But it was me putting Mike in front of Ingram Park Mall. I made that. I still have it. I could put it on his shirt. Maybe we'll make one for Tony Ornelas and send it off to him.
How excited are you about this, Joe? You want to talk some pop culture for a minute?
Sure, we can.
You want to show my screen? The new movie coming out.
Let's see.
On Netflix.
Okay, you know that I love our life.
What?
Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz. Are you excited? We just mentioned Jamie Foxx. Are you excited?
In a really long time. I felt alive again.
For Cameron Diaz's first movie in over a decade. It's been that long, Joe.
That's a long time, man.
Dude, when she first came out,
it's a nugget, dude.
In the 90s with was The Mask,
smoking hot, dude.
Dude, amazing, dude.
And was it something about Mary? She came out in that one. That movie's still freaking hilarious, dude.
Do you believe the rumor that she was in a softcore porn movie back in the day that never saw the light of day because she got famous from The Mask and they had to buy it off? That's been the rumor for a long time.
I don't know, dude. I think it was just a rumor.
They said it wasn't hardcore, but it was kind of a softcore cochino type of thing back in the day.
And we got another $1.99 super chat incoming here. Thank you so much, Tony Ornelas. He says, seriously would buy Mike Spurs chunkless shirts. You got a fan there, Mike.
Joe. I didn't have a lot of fans yesterday, man. I was all excited that Wemby went off for 50 points, and instead of me being able to celebrate, people were just throwing crap at me.
Cook.
By the way, last night, here's a photo last night. Manu Ginobili posted this yesterday.
Let's go ahead and see this. Let me put it on here.
He was at the game with
Boris
Diaw. Dude, when Manu made his way down the tunnel and down the stands and then into the tunnel, the amount of love that Manu got was so nice to watch.
Oh, yeah, dude. They love him here in San Antonio. And you know what? He doesn't have to stay here, dude. I mean, he can go back to Argentina if he ever wanted to.
But this is his second home.
This is his second home. He likes it here. He keeps his family here. You know, he embraced the city. The city loves Manu. You know, he's going to stay here.
This was my viewpoint yesterday. This was me with my nephew, Nathan. That's Alex Noriega and his wife, Jen. We were at the game. $50 for this seat right here, Joe.
Yeah, I saw that on SeatGeek. I was looking at them, and I saw some great seats. There's a section that I like to sit in that I'm not going to reveal here because I want nobody getting my seats.
Yeah,
but it's my own little private area that I like to be in. When I go to the games, I like to kind of be away from everybody. So I was looking at those areas, and they're doable. I think I might take my son out there for his birthday, man.
Very cool. Here's Sohan being Nesio yesterday. After Jordan Poole and Chris Paul got tangled up. Is he going to get fined?
I don't know. He didn't step foot on the court. He was just kind of pushing him, but he's in street clothes right now, and he should not be doing any of that because the NBA can look at that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they find him.
Mitch Johnson, like not going after CP3, telling Sohan, get the F back.
Yep, because he doesn't want him to get suspended.
Why is Sohan standing up in the first place?
He's a fool.
Joe, can we make the assessment right now that this is Mitch Johnson's team?
I think it is Mitch Johnson's team right now. And you know what? I got to say, maybe the Spurs are making that executive decision right now at this point in time just because they want to go in a younger direction, you know, for the foreseeable future.
And that's why Brett Brown, who I believe was the Sixers head coach at one point, is not the head coach of the Spurs right now.
Yeah, for the foreseeable future, I think they're going to go ahead and just roll with Mitch Johnson for now. And I would think that at some point, maybe after this season's over, maybe during the season, they might officially give him that, hey, this is our new head coach of the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, Brett Brown, 63 years old, was the head coach of the Sixers from 2013 to 2020.
How old is he?
63.
Nah, man.
The youth movement is here, man. Mitch Johnson is the guy.
Look at some of the teams that have had the most success, including the Celtics. What do they have in common? Younger coaches, man. Look at Doc Rivers over there with the Bucks. How long do you think he's going to keep his job, dude?
Dude, that's true. Hey, I saw this thing on TikTok the other day. I thought it was kind of funny. It was talking about NFL coaches that have been fired in the past 12 months or so, and the coaches that have been hired that have had success. And I got to go research this a little bit more, Joe, but it said that every coach that's gotten fired for bad performance has been fired, and they're all unattractive head coaches. Like physically unattractive.
Yeah.
Like ugly face, not in the best shape. But the ones that are most successful these days are the ones who are in shape and are good looking.
Yeah.
So they were saying, look at the Texans. Texans winning record. They might be smoke and mirrors, but D'Amico Ryan's a good looking guy, right? Coach of the Chargers, the coach of the Packers, Matt LaFleur, and all that. All good looking guys, but all the ones that have been fired have all been
your Saints.
have been ugly. Dennis Allen, is he a looker? No.
What's his name? Gone.
Dennis Allen. So it said, take a look at every single head coach who's gotten fired out of the last 12 months. They've been unattractive, and they said next one up, Mike McCarthy.
Look at McCarthy, man. Come on,
Mike McCarthy.
He's not a looker, bro.
He's a thickie. I used to have this ongoing thing about Anthony Pittman used to make fun of me about it.
Oh man.
Where I had a theory that in order to win a Super Bowl, you had to be in shape as a head coach. And I said that there was only one fat head coach to win the Super Bowl, and that was John Madden. And even Andy Reid. Andy Reid was winning Super Bowls, right? But he lost 50 pounds that season. He was still thick, but he was not as thick as before.
What was the coach for the Dallas Cowboys? Kind of chunky dude. He came from the Patriots.
Who's that again?
One of the Cowboys head coaches. Man, I forgot his name. He was the one that
Campo?
No, it wasn't Campo. It was another guy. One of the greats. I forgot his name, dude. I gotta look him up.
Oh, is it great?
Well, he was a great coach in the league at the time.
Oh, was it Rex Ryan?
No, it wasn't Rex Ryan.
Not Rex Ryan. One of the Ryan guys.
No. Well, I'm trying to see who the coaches were for the Dallas
Chan
Cowboys.
Gailey? Sam's asking if it's Chan Gailey.
No.
There haven't been that many head coaches of the Cowboys in NFL.
They've had a couple. Well, there he is. Cowboys head coaches. Because you had Garrett, and before Garrett, oh, come on. This is taking forever to level.
But it's funny because you look at all the coaches that have won Super Bowls, they've been in shape. I mean, Bill Belichick has been in decent shape his entire life.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll was in decent shape back in the day. You've had some really good, healthy coaches out there. Mike Tomlin is another one. It's just funny, dude. But it's funny how the ugly ones are getting fired and the good-looking ones are the ones doing well.
Jimmy Johnson had great success with the Cowboys, right?
And he was thicky, but he lost some weight, and then he won, right? Hell, even Barry Switzer was in shape. Yeah. 499 super chat coming in from Sean Quintero asking the question or saying, quote, make a shirt that says Mike hates the Hana music and have my picture on it. If it ain't Selena, it ain't for me.
No Grupo Mas, no Ram Herrera for you, brother.
No, thank you, man.
Bill Parcells, that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Oh, Bill Parcells. There you go. Very, very, very cool. Let's give some love to MCS General Contracting. They've been with us since day one.
Yeah, let's give some love to them. MCS General Contracting, more than 30 years of combined experience in concrete placement. They are the best in the business. Honest pricing, high quality work. They get going on house foundations, driveways, concrete patio decks. If you want to extend the deck, extend the driveway. If you're a business and you need to put together a slab, a parking lot, or other concrete placement services or sidewalks, reach out to MCS General Contracting at 210-774-9155. They're confident in their skills, so give Chris Leha over at MCS General Contracting a call at 210-774-9155. And thank you for being a sponsor of this show. There you go. So if you boys want to go ahead and get that diamond hard concrete in your life, make sure you give a shout out to our boy here, Chris Leha of MCS General Contracting. They can go ahead and put up a pickleball court for you, a parking lot, swimming pool, whatever you might need for your home and for your commercial needs. You go ahead and call them. Their number is 210-774-9155. Make sure you told them that the Alamo City Sportscast sent you. And also go ahead and make sure you go ahead and follow the Locked On Spurs podcast as well. They help us pay the bills here as well. So subscribe to the Locked On Spurs podcast for your daily Spurs content. Jeff Garcia is 5,000 subscribers strong on YouTube. Make sure you go ahead and give him some love. And also, make sure you go and give Mike some love.
Oh, dude, I can't tell you how blessed I am right now with my practice, my financial practice.
There you go.
Dude, I mean, just busting at the seams, man, in a very, very good way. Retirement accounts, life insurance, disability. Tinkering with the idea, Joe, of starting an auto insurance agency as well.
You're going to be, you're going to be competing with Fred Loya?
Well, no, I mean, I've done it in the past where I do like Nationwide, Progressive, Liberty Mutual, all of that. Tinkering with the idea of going back into doing that and adding that to the mix of the things that I do.
The bundle. Hey, can you save me money with the bundle?
That's right. That's right. But dude, retirement plans have been through the roof right now. People have reaching out to me. People having additional income because they're excited because there are a lot of conservatives right now who are really excited about the income in administration and they want to invest more money.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting how things are going. But man, my business this has been my best year ever.
Yeah,
I'm excited about it.
It was great for everybody.
210-508-0369.
I was going to say it was great for everybody's 401k recently because stock market went up.
Market had been up already, but then it hit record territory the other day. So very, very nice.
Got a little boost there if you have a 401k. Good on you.
So what did we learn today, Joe? Let's wrap things up with what did we learn today, Joe?
What did we learn today? Like a class.
We learned that Wemby is on fire right now, and we gave it a term, Joe. What is that term? He's what?
Throbbing.
He's throbbing.
Feel cochino just saying it, dude.
He's throbbing right now, and I'm not going to be upset with him shooting 10, 15 three-point attempts against the Lakers because, again, he's doing well from three. You keep riding that ride until it bucks you off, right?
Yeah.
But the second he starts going 1 for 9 from three, we're all going to look at each other and go, hey, isn't he 7-4? Why don't you get your ass back inside the paint and do some stuff down low? That's my problem, Joe.
Yeah, I think the Spurs have seen some success here since Wemby's been shooting the three good. It helps space the floor a lot more, and it also opens the inside lanes for the San Antonio Spurs as far as their passing lanes. They can get some backdoor cuts, make some moves without the ball, So I like that, man. It helps them in the end, but maybe it's just the process of getting there. Maybe Wemby will have these games where he looks great, and then he'll have some off shooting nights, just as every other player does. Regardless, I'm just going to enjoy the season for what it is, and every victory that the Spurs have, I'm just going to savor it, man. Regardless of who scores the highest points on the team, just enjoy the ride.
That's right, baby. Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy it.
We had some news here too. I was going to share. Tim
What's
Gonzalez just told us, shared this with us. Look at that. San Antonio's taco staple closes after 16 years. Rosa's Tacos to go. San Antonio staple closes.
Interesting.
Wow.
As long as Tacos Martinez is still open, I'm going to be perfectly fine.
There you go.
Text Best Frank says Mike's insurance slogan is going to be buy insurance or get the chancla.
Save so much here with Mike.
Well,
Save so much with us. Your wallet will be throbbing.
That's right. Throbbing, overflowing, throbbing with money. I've been in finance for a while and for 19 years. And the last 4 years, I've been back in practice since 2021, right? Since COVID, I restarted my practice. I now manage $16.5 million in retirement assets. I now supervise about $20 million in insurance assets.
Yeah.
People ask me, Joe, all the time for auto insurance, and I always push them to somebody else.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, you know what? I might just go ahead and start doing it again. Why not? Tony Ornalis reaches out and says, love the show, Mike and Joe. I learned that Mike flip-flopped on Sochan. I realized that I really want to buy Edgar Mike shirts for the show.
Look at that. Mario Cavasso says, hey, Joe, do you have the capability of making and selling Alamo City Sportscast caps? I bet they will sell. Actually, that's something that I am looking at because I'm looking to get myself a new Christmas present ahead of time, before the Christmas rush. And I've been eyeing something that'll help me make personalized gifts for the family and also maybe start my own engraving business here.
Wow.
So we'll see, dude. I got my eyes on some equipment that I'm going to be purchasing here. It's not cheap, but it allow me or afford me the capabilities of being able to make some really intricate and very high quality things that we can give out here on the show, but also, something that I can do as a side hustle.
That's badass, dude. That's badass.
Yeah.
I would be very supportive of that. And I like wearing ball caps, dude. So
we can customize it. Once I get that equipment here, whatever you want on there, it'll be there.
Tonight, week 11 of the NFL season gets going. Big game tonight, Joe. Commanders at Eagles. 7-3 Commanders, 7-2 Eagles. Whoever wins this game is the top of the NFC East.
Man.
Finally, we get a good Thursday night game on Amazon Prime. Kickoff at 7:15. It's going to be a good week of games, Joe, because I believe there are 4 games with teams with 7 or more wins playing against each other. That's one of those games.
That's great, man. I can't wait to see it.
Also this week, you've got the big games. Ravens at 7-3, visiting the 7-2 Pittsburgh Steelers. You have the 9-0 undefeated Chiefs on the road against the 8-2 Buffalo Bills. Bills favored by 2, despite the fact that the Chiefs are undefeated. And
Bills play the Bills play the Chiefs tough.
They do, man. They do. So good games going on this weekend, Joe.
Yeah, we're also going to be talking. I'm going to reach out to him tomorrow, but hopefully we can get Johnny Walker on the show. I know our good friend Fernandez is going to be helping us run the show along with my in-studio guest, which is going to be the one and only John Dyer, Puro Exit 7 in the house, man, tomorrow.
Maybe I'll call in, man. Maybe I'll call in from
from
the beaches of Miami Beach. I'm headed to Miami tonight. We're going to go. So here's the thing. My girlfriend and I have several kids. You know,
Yeah.
I have 2 biologically. She has 2 biologically. And then I have one that I had that I'm a guardian of. And we had decided that we were going to go spend time with our kids. So we spent some time with Ava. We spent some time with her son, and we're going to spend time with her daughter, and we're going to spend time with my daughter, my eldest daughter, probably in about a week or so. So we're taking the tours, baby.
There you go.
You know, so that's it. I'll be a 2-day trip.
You can go visit Gabby girl over in Orleans.
Moving her back because I haven't posted this, but she's moving back to San Antonio. She got a job as the digital content producer at KSAT 12.
Wow, how about that? Full circle, man. Congratulations.
Full circle, man. That's where I got my start in TV news back in 1994.
Hopefully she won't have no phones thrown at her.
What's funny is that she's going to get to work with Steve Spriester, and when I got there, Steve Spriester was the new guy on the block.
Wow, how about that? Going to be seeing Gabby there.
Yeah. So it's very funny. She told me that during the interview process, some of the people looked at her and said, "Hey, nice to see you again." And she was like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "They said your dad brought you here when you were a baby."
Yeah, when she was little. Full circle. But you know what? I know how that is because I had to go ahead and bring my son back from Kansas when he was out there working in Kansas City.
Yeah.
For his job. And then we had to move him back. Dude, that was like an 18-hour drive, something like that. I don't know, man. It was a long time. Well, it felt like 18 hours, but it was quite a bit of a drive from there all the way to San Antonio. So I can imagine how it is loading up the U-Haul and all that kind of stuff and then driving, man.
It is
brutal.
It is brutal, man.
Daddy duty, man.
It is brutal because those U-Hauls
they
can only go up to 55 or 60.
It's hard to see too, man.
And it doesn't recline.
They're uncomfortable
like the entire time.
They got no shocks, dude. You feel every bump and little, I don't know, divot or whatever in the road. And if you hit a pothole, man, forget about it. Your back's all jacked up. And then you're walking like an old man when you get out of the truck.
That's funny. And so I got to make it a 2-day trip, man. 2-day trip. But I'm excited for my daughter. Yesterday I went to go visit some apartment complexes for her.
Yeah.
Because she needs to have an apartment. Dude, people reaching out to me on Twitter right now. Steve Sosa reaches out and says, Pop would never have let Wemby get 50.
He would have sat him down.
Oh, my goodness. Are Spurs fans finally under the realization that Pop is not going to be the head coach anymore? I know that announcement has not been made. I did tweet out there that I would love for Pop to have one last game out there.
Give him his flowers, man. Give him his roses,
and all that
dude.
Stuff.
Yeah.
But no, it's done. It's done. And if he does come back or want to come back, it would not.
He's going to want to come back.
I'm sure he does. But if you are the Spurs organization and you truly cared for this man, you cared for his health, you would tell him no.
Yeah, I think he'll come back, in some capacity. They'll have him there maybe near the end of the season or February somewhere. But if he comes back, it's going to be kind of like, I think, a farewell tour at this point. And again, we've been telling Spurs fans, or I had been telling them for quite some time already, prepare yourself because the end is nigh. And there's going to be a day when you look at that court, you're not going to see Coach Pop out there anymore. Think the changing of the guards happening right here before our eyes, So if he does come back, appreciate him for what he's done for the city and for the community and for the team. Give him his flowers and just keep him in your thoughts.
Mitch Johnson, 4-3 as head coach of the Spurs.
He's doing a great job, man. Not going to lie there.
You guys, John Dyer, Fernandez, Joe, an Exit 7 edition of Alamo City Sportscast tomorrow. I'll see if I can call in tomorrow. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. And unlike Jason Garcia, who's on our YouTube stream right now, who says Michael's a fake Spurs fan, bite me. I was wearing a Spurs jersey. And what am I wearing right now, Joe? What am I wearing right now? Do you think I wear this for my health, Joe?
No.
Oh, my God.
You know what? I think I have a shirt similar to that upstairs in my closet.
I got this from my father-in-law. It's the most uncomfortable shirt.
It looks uncomfortable.
It's just cut weird, but my former father-in-law bought it for me, and it just makes me feel. I like it though. It's tacky, but then again, it just isn't San Antonio kind of tacky a little bit.
Yeah, I like the logo though, because that's the logo that I use for the chains that I make.
No. What I mean by that is that like you look at the Spurs, like the Spurs jersey, like the City Edition, like the Bill Miller's jersey that they have, right? Tacky, right? But I like it. This is tacky. I like it. San Antonio's kind of tacky. I like it.
It's Marbach nice.
It's Marbach nice.
That shirt is Marbach nice. It's kind of itchy, but it's still good.
Dude, that's exactly the word. It's itchy. Just kind of just sits on your chest. We'll be back tomorrow.
Oh, look, man. We have a
$2 super chat.
$2 super
Grito
chat.
for Gabby to end the show.
So we'll go ahead and do that. Let it rain. We'll make it rain
Very
right
nice.
now. Thank you for that.
New digital content producer at KSAT 12.
Presumir a mis amigos les conté.
Thank you so much for that, man. Appreciate you.
All right, man. Time for me to hit the road. See you guys tomorrow.
Yep, we'll see you boys tomorrow. We're out. Peace.